Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And we're going to be talking with someone who is in a very new field, and you'll find out what I'm talking about when we get to that. But it's actually an old field, and so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But we're also going to be talking a lot about AI, which I know we're recording this on what the heck is today, the 15th of July. By the time this airs next week, some of what we talked about will have changed. A good chunk of what we've talked about will change. That's kind of the fun ride with AI, right? So anyhow, please join me in welcoming Jack Blaeser to our program today. Welcome, Jack. How are you?
I am doing great, Deb. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to this discussion. So thank you so much.
Great. Well, let me tell people just a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into this. So Jack Blaeser is the founder and CEO of Mosaic, a digital commerce and payments platform helping cannabis dispensaries. Yep, you heard me right. Cannabis dispensaries and retailers deliver branded, Starbucks-like experiences with integrated e-commerce, loyalty, and compliant payments. Before Mosaic, Jack scaled startups to 300, I missed a zero there, $300 million in revenue, and held executive roles managing over $1.5 billion in business. He's led multiple companies across tech, finance, and services, and also serves on the boards of mission-driven ventures like BGiving and the Freedom Educational Foundation. He's passionate about helping the next generation navigate careers in an AI-powered world and how technology can shape the future of business and humanity. So again, Jack, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Well, you've had quite the variety of careers. So tell us a little bit more about how it is that you got to where you are today.
Sure. So I started my career in sales coming out of school. And the last 25 years or so, I've been, raising capital, starting businesses, running organizations, looking to really innovate for companies with technology. So different industries, but looking how technology can help businesses and people do more with less. Relative to where I'm doing now with Mosaic, about 7-8 years ago, I made an investment in cannabis. Now, I'm not a cannabis expert. I certainly wasn't at that point. It was very intriguing to me because a lot of things were changing 10 years ago with cannabis. So everybody knows it's not federally legal today, but it is legal in 40 states. Some states for recreational and all use, other states just medical. And so I made an investment and I started to watch the industry more closely. It fascinated me, Deb, because the cannabis industry, one, is big. So it is today a $40 billion industry, legal, 100 billion in the US if you include the illicit spend that's still out there. That's bigger than draft beer. I mean, it's a big industry.
Oh, and more than draft beer? Holy schmoly.
Yeah. And as I learn more, it's a very complex area because there's so many different products and attributes and THC levels, right? But it also has, so it can be abused, but really it has so many potential opportunities to help people. So the wellness, medical side of it, they're just learning because it's been federally illegal, so there hasn't been a lot of research.
Right, you haven't been able to test.
Exactly, but they're doing more of that now, and they're finding it helps certainly cancer patients, as you can certainly relate with, but it also helps other areas of medical that they're learning. From a wellness perspective, a lot of folks take it to help them sleep and other areas. For me, and I think the biggest impact will be alcohol. So alcohol today is legal, but it's got toxins. It gives you a hangover. There are a lot of health challenges with
Hmm.
alcohol, as we know.
Obviously, addiction.
Addiction. Exactly.
Hmm.
Cannabis doesn't have those toxins.
Hmm.
It doesn't give you that hangover,
Hmm.
and now can be embedded into beverages
Hmm.
very easily, and they're doing that. So you're going to see it actually replace alcohol over time.
Hmm.
The big alcohol industry, the big players there have invested billions in cannabis already,
Hmm.
looking towards the future.
Interesting. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then if you start to look at from a business perspective,
Hmm.
um, you've got a lot of big players like a Shopify that provides e-commerce
Hmm.
services to so many retailers,
Hmm.
not entering because it's not federally legal.
Right.
So technology that the retailers called
Hmm.
dispensaries use is largely startups or
Hmm.
fragmented
Hmm.
technologies that are learning. So there's not the same robust
Hmm.
technology tools for them to go to market, for
Hmm.
them to help support their customers, for them to
Hmm.
market. And that was the genesis of Mosaic, the
Hmm.
opportunity to come in,
Hmm.
bring in technology, drive innovation,
Hmm.
help these dispensary owners, these stores compete in what's a very competitive field
Hmm.
because while not federally legal, the states have legalized, but they, in often cases like Colorado, as you know, have given so many
Hmm.
license to users that there's so many stores out there,
Right. There's
right?
one on every corner, like Waffle House is here.
At the same time,
Hmm.
while they're giving license to so many
Hmm.
so many stores and businesses, they're making it hard for them
Hmm.
because there's this 280E tax provision
Hmm.
where they can't claim taxes. So they're paying an
Hmm.
effective 70% tax rate.
Hmm.
They're competing with the illicit market.
Hmm.
And that's tough because they don't have the same regulation overhead. They don't
Right.
have the same requirements. So it's less expensive, not
Hmm.
regulated, perhaps not as safe, definitely
Hmm.
not safe.
Right.
But
Definitely mixed with really bad stuff. Hmm.
yeah, these owners have
Hmm.
their hands tied behind their back,
Hmm.
and it's really tough.
Hmm.
So saw the opportunity to come in as
Hmm.
Mosaic 3 years ago
Hmm.
and provide better technologies
Hmm.
that help them, engage their
Hmm.
customers, educate their
Hmm.
customers, help them buy and buy effectively.
Hmm.
And so essentially what Mosaic does is we provide them software that allows any retail store, in this case dispensaries,
Hmm.
have their own branded Starbucks-like digital
Hmm.
experience, their own
Right.
app, points,
Hmm.
rewards, loyalty, payments, all in one.
Hmm. I love pot loyalty. That's the,
Yeah.
and as you mentioned, I'm from Colorado. So that's anything goes in Colorado, and that's been interesting to watch. And now I live in Georgia, which is still very restrictive, and they there are just a few things for medical reasons that they allow, and so that's where it's very interesting is just to see what the differences are, and of course I think unless someone is very familiar with this, we're all thinking, okay, so the guy who runs the store is the pothead, right? Who's just going, hey dude, do you want to, and these are businesses,
Yeah.
and we left Colorado in 2012, which was when everything was really starting up, and I networked with people who were starting businesses back then. And it was so interesting to talk to them because it's a business. I mean, you have to do everything that a business does. You're renting a retail space, you're hiring employees. I mean, all of these various things. But then of course you've got the hey, you got to get customers type of thing. And so walk us kind of through how Mosaic works for the average dispensary in, say, Colorado, where everything is on the table.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And you're right. There's so many regulations and
Mm-hmm.
each state is different. So
Mm-hmm.
very hard for a store owner,
Right.
dispensary to
Mm-hmm.
manage, understand. And that's where technology can play a
Mm-hmm.
really important
Mm-hmm.
role, right? Technology can automate
Mm-hmm.
and help you with
Mm-hmm.
compliance. So let's take an example, to your point, a Colorado dispensary or store. First, they all, for the most part, not all, they can have delivery only solutions, but they all pretty much have their own store, the brick and
Mm-hmm.
mortar
Mm-hmm.
location. And that's where they do some advertising.
Mm-hmm.
But in most states, you can't advertise much. They want to protect, right? There's rules
Right.
around
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But they do some advertising and they try to get people into the store to
Mm-hmm.
buy the product. Now, when you go into these stores, you have to give your ID. You
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure the
Just
person.
like if you were walking into a place selling alcohol.
Yeah. In fact, you can't even enter the store. You have to do that at the front door, where with
Ah,
alcohol, you do that at the registry, right?
okay, right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's one aspect of the
Mm-hmm.
business. But as we know, in the modern age, a lot of people like to shop from
Mhm.
home online,
Right. Mhm.
look at the product, maybe buy it and
Mhm.
have it ready so they can
Mhm.
bypass the line, the
Right.
convenience of it all,
Mhm.
and come
Works at
buy it.
Walmart.
Walmart, Starbucks is famous for
Mhm.
making that very easy and
Mhm.
having
Mhm.
the app and the loyalty that people love. So what we did is we built a platform that allows that dispensary to have that exact same
Mhm.
experience and help, engage and provide that experience to their customer, the
Mhm.
consumers. So now they can download the app or they can go to an online site,
Mhm.
a menu. They can look at all their products.
Mhm.
They can even choose product and put it in a cart.
Mhm.
They can buy it online. They can pay for it
Mhm.
online, and then it can be ready when they go
Mhm.
into the store. And also for that dispensary owner, they can get points for those
Mhm.
purchases,
Mhm.
like Starbucks, and that helps the dispensary owner kind of
Mhm.
give something back and
Mhm.
engage those consumers
Mhm.
in a competitive space, keep them, right? Have
Mhm.
them come back to use their points
Mhm.
versus to go to the next door dispensary. So that's what we do is we fill that digital commerce gap. We provide really an end-to-end solution. And what makes us different as Mosaic versus, say, other technology platforms is that digital commerce experience. We provide it all in one. So
Okay.
others provide an e-commerce, and then others provide some loyalty solution,
Mhm.
and others might provide you an app.
Mhm.
We provide that dispensary owner who's
Mhm.
very busy, Deb, as you said,
Mhm.
doing everything, one solution for all of the digital commerce.
Mhm.
So it's easy to manage, super cost effective,
Mhm.
and provides a better, more seamless user experience for the consumer.
Right.
So it's really like a win-win-win in that
Mhm.
regard.
Right. So, the finances always change. But is it a subscription? Is it a percentage of sales? How does that work?
Yeah, so we're a simple subscription.
Mhm.
So for $500 per month, a store owner can have
Mhm.
everything that say Starbucks or Dunkin'
Mhm.
or Chick-fil-A might
Mhm.
have. Now, those examples, they
Mhm.
spent tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars
Right.
building one
Mhm.
platform.
Mhm.
So a typical store, certainly a
Mhm.
smaller dispensary, even a big one, doesn't have that budget.
Mhm.
And that's where we're a breakthrough. So
Mhm.
in cannabis today, we are able to provide all that capability branded for the
Mhm.
user for a simple subscription,
Mhm.
$500 per month, everything.
Mhm.
Um, Now, we see a big opportunity to expand out of cannabis at some point where there's a million brick and mortar
Right.
repeat customer
Mhm.
based retailers out there that
Mhm.
would love to have the same kind of Starbucks
Mhm.
experience. Even a Shopify, for
Mhm.
example, only does
Mhm.
e-com. They don't do loyalty.
Mhm.
So we have a big opportunity to do
Mhm.
that, which we'll probably do in 2026.
Mhm.
But right now, we're certainly focused on helping the
Mhm.
cannabis industry and those retailers
Right.
that you speak of.
Well, we talk a lot on this program that you need to find a niche.
Mhm.
If you're saying, hey, we can serve everybody, then you're going to really serve nobody. And so when you niche, even though you're eliminating a whole bunch, you're able to really focus and provide great product, service, all of those things for that niche, and it pays off.
You're so right, Deb. And uh, that's where our initial focus is.
Mhm.
But it's a big industry. As I said, it's a $100 billion
Mhm.
spend
Right.
currently in the States.
Mhm.
So sometimes I feel like it's not the real niche because we're also doing this all on one platform where
Mhm.
others are doing
Mhm.
like a sliver of it.
Mhm.
Uh, but like you said, we can
Mhm.
expand into the $6
Mhm.
trillion e-commerce
Mhm.
space outside of cannabis. So
Mhm.
we are trying to be focused. And, I'm passionate about the industry. It's a
Mhm.
great culture.
Mhm.
You get to meet the people. It's different. It's unique.
Mhm.
They, for the most part, really try to help each other across the
Mhm.
industry because
Mhm.
look, they're fighting the federal government in
Right.
many ways.
Mhm.
They're fighting the illicit
Mhm.
market. They've got their hands tied behind their
Mhm.
back because of the regulations in
Mhm.
place. So
Mhm.
they need to help each other, and
Mhm.
they do in that culture, in that
Mhm.
industry. So it's wonderful to see.
Mhm.
So to come in and try to help,
Mhm.
is also exciting to see where we can help that
Mhm.
dispensary double or drive,
Mhm.
100% more
Mhm.
sales online.
Right.
It's rewarding.
Right. Now, we talked about the fact that it's different everywhere. And even in Colorado, the county that I am from does not allow it. And so it is a county regulation, no dispensaries in the county. So I mean that just totally throws things. But it is the end user responsible for knowing what is allowed and what is not, or do you help them with that? And again, that's a moving target. I
It's a
realize.
moving, it's a moving target. It's a big challenge. It's not the end user that's responsible. It's the actual dispensary owner,
Okay.
the operator, the cannabis
Hmm.
operator,
Hmm.
ultimately is responsible.
Hmm.
And yes, we do help them.
Hmm.
So we give them tools to help them manage it.
Hmm.
And you could say lucky, but we're really strategic in the sense that
Hmm.
we do integrate with the in-store
Hmm.
systems. They're called point of sale systems, but that's where
Hmm.
all the inventory and the
Hmm.
product and all
Hmm.
that system is required by the states to manage all the
Okay.
compliance and regulatory. Okay.
Hmm.
So they do all that. We seamlessly integrate with
Hmm.
those. So we can leverage that, but we
Hmm.
pull that information. So when you're buying product on that
Hmm.
app or online,
Hmm.
yeah, we're making sure that we're managing the compliance aspects of
Hmm.
it for that dispensary owner in
Hmm.
conjunction with the point of
Hmm.
sale, that in-store system.
Hmm.
So we both are trying to help manage that for the owner.
Hmm.
The owner still ultimately is responsible, so they got to
Right.
get the
Oh
right
yeah, because
system
a
in the
county
store.
regulation could kick in that you don't know about.
Yeah.
And hmm.
And I'll give you another example there, Deb. I mean, yeah, what they can buy, what they can't buy, but there's
Hmm.
also a lot of regulations about how you can market. What can you
Right.
market? How do
And
you
where
market?
where you can be located. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, can't be within, in most places, I'm assuming this is pretty universal, within 1,000 feet of, say, a school.
right. Oh, yeah.
You know, and we've all heard the stories of Girl Scout cookie time, and those enterprising little Girl Scouts set up a table, right? No, but you know, that's, you know, things like this happen.
Certainly do. Yep, absolutely. So there's a lot there to manage, and
Hmm.
we do help with that for
Hmm.
sure.
Right. Well, and you know, I mentioned the you know, my friends, you know, 13 years ago who were doing this, and they said one of their biggest challenges was insurance.
Mhm.
You know, because it was one of these things where, you know, they were required to have different insurance, different alarm systems, security systems,
Yeah.
things like that. And then you toss in the fact that some banks will not take money from, because they're a federal bank, you know, so you know, they're located in multiple states. And you know, it's just, all of those things are just a big challenge. Sometimes it's like, why are people even still doing this? But you know, it's great that they're saying, hey, you know, we see that there is a market for this, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it well.
Yeah, and you gave two good examples. I mean, most banks
Hmm.
won't support the industry. So
Hmm.
financing, not just banking
Hmm.
and having a bank to work with, but
Hmm.
to get a loan and all that becomes much more difficult for
Hmm.
this operator. For
Hmm.
us, we're a technology company,
Hmm.
so while we serve the industry, we're not affected by those rules.
Right. Hmm.
Customers we support are, and I see it all the time.
Hmm.
Let me just give you an example for your viewers. I mean, one little example, it's largely a cash business because one, the big credit card companies, Amex, Visa won't,
Hmm.
they're not
Right.
allowing
Hmm.
this cannabis purchases.
Hmm.
But two, because it's a cash business, these store owners have to count their money.
Hmm.
Then they have to get the money to the bank.
Hmm.
That's most of their sales. And some of these they're doing millions of dollars of sales.
Right. Yeah. So you get back to those big fancy security systems that you
Yeah.
need.
And then they need to figure out how to
Hmm.
transport it. So you either
Hmm.
hire an armored car, which
Hmm.
comes with cost, or you
Hmm.
have people drive it in certain
Hmm.
states. You'd be careful, you have two
Hmm.
drive. That one
Hmm.
aspect of counting the money,
Hmm.
making sure you count it right,
Hmm.
transporting. Then the
Hmm.
bank that supports that industry has to count it.
Hmm.
There's a lot of overhead there and
Hmm.
cost. And concern what happens with that money is it's because the bad guys will look to see who's driving the
Hmm.
money. And
Right.
obviously, if there's a lot of money in there, they'll
Hmm.
go
Right. Yeah. They're
at that
watching and
car.
going, okay, they're closing now. And there goes Bob in his car to the
Yeah.
local credit union, you know, things like that.
So just like the
Hmm.
federal government eventually legalized alcohol and
Hmm.
prohibition, it should get there with the cannabis
Hmm.
because not only will impact safety
Hmm.
and kind of stop money
Hmm.
laundering, but more importantly, it's going to create a whole business industry. I
Hmm.
mean, the revenue
That
that they
they can
create,
tax.
yes, exactly,
That's the biggie, right?
and the
Hmm.
jobs it will create for
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
that there's so much opportunity there. So
Right.
hopefully we'll get there sooner than
Hmm.
later, but
Hmm.
it's been a long process for
Hmm.
the industry so far.
Right. Well, and you know, we were talking before the program started that, you know, when the federal government gets involved, and they will, I have no doubt, because you know, they're going to see the dollar signs. It's kind of surprising that they haven't so far, but you know, then you can have it regulated so that you know that you've got the same product consistency, that it's not laced with something else that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And then when you start adding it into food products, I mean, that makes it pretty complicated, right? Because then you have to deal with the FDA. I mean, we all kind of grew up on the, at least if we didn't have them, we knew that our friends had brownies. So what if somebody's put peanuts in the, so that's yeah. And so, it is something that I think, and I'm not a big proponent for, oh my gosh, we need much more regulation. But I think we need it to be simplified, quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yep. There's a big opportunity for everybody there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And like you said, making sure that, minors are not getting this product, that it is safe. You're not having thousands of dollars sitting on your countertop that somebody's going to walk in and steal. All of these various things.
Yeah. Just even research.
Mm-hmm.
The opening this up for research and identifying where it can help
Right.
people. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's known to help
Mm-hmm.
people significantly in so many medical aspects.
Mm-hmm.
But if we knew better,
Mm-hmm.
it can replace opioids and other
Right.
things. It's
Mm-hmm.
just so much worse
Mm-hmm.
for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so much opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Right.
we will get there,
Mm-hmm.
as you said. The question is how quickly will we
Mm-hmm.
get there from a federal
Mm-hmm.
perspective, and then on a global basis,
Mm-hmm.
because there's countries that have legalized,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of them still haven't.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And again, we were talking before the program about use in cancer patients.
Hmm.
And it's one of those things. So Georgia is, as we said, very restrictive. You
Yeah.
can only use it for very, very few medical types of things. But cancer is one of the things that is on the list. And, my oncology group, which is a large oncology group, made the decision that they would not do prescriptions for pain, but I can get all the oxy I'd want. Right.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of one of those that makes you scratch your head.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just it's a misunderstanding, and there's a long history to it too, but
Mm-hmm.
there's also a lot of lobbying against it. You
Mm-hmm.
have, big pharma companies and even
Right. They want me to get my oxy,
they do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
there's that, and I think, as the public becomes more
Mm-hmm.
educated, and then eventually
Mm-hmm.
things move, we'll see that shift. But
Mm-hmm.
there's just too much
Mm-hmm.
opportunity there, even from a financial
Mm-hmm.
perspective, for the government, the federal government, to really get a hold on it and,
Mm-hmm.
be able to move us forward.
Mm-hmm. Right. It'll be interesting. We'll have to have you on again as things change. And who knows if it will be, a short period of time or a longer period of time, but yeah, that'll be interesting. And the nice thing is, and this is the thing, is Mosaic will be in the forefront of doing a lot of this. And so I think, business people need to think about that. What is something that, is an up and coming industry that you can kind of be the leader in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of the strategy getting in from a
Mm-hmm.
business person into the industry is clearly that huge
Mm-hmm.
industry. We're solving a big problem. And yeah, once it becomes legalized at a federal level
Mm-hmm.
or it's rescheduled,
Mm-hmm.
um, that could happen a year, two, and
Mm-hmm.
three. It probably will happen within a 5-year
Mm-hmm.
period. Then there's going to be a big jump in the
Mm-hmm.
industry, and everyone's going to want to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Already, Anheuser-Busch and others have put
Mm-hmm.
billions of dollars into the cannabis industry behind the scenes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's happening. People
Mm-hmm.
are kind of preparing for it,
Mm-hmm.
but there will be this big opportunity that
Mm-hmm.
when it jumps, and the big players want to get in, and they
Right.
may want to buy others,
Mm-hmm.
but certainly those that
Mm-hmm.
have understood the industry,
Mm-hmm.
built relationships,
Mm-hmm.
are really providing a
Mm-hmm.
solution, because it's a tough industry too. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
compliance, regulatory
Right. Like
difference in this
yeah,
industry.
because it can be used in so many things. Like I was saying, it gets the
Yeah.
FDA involved. It gets, I was going to say SEC, but that's football.
Yeah.
Actually, sports is something that has had to deal with this, and things like that. You can tell I'm in Georgia, and SEC is just kind of one of those things. But yeah, I mean, it is an interesting thing, to watch, and so yeah, I mean, it'll go through the same growing pains that alcohol did, especially after prohibition, right?
Right. Yes. There's a bit of a playbook there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we will see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good analogy, Deb.
Right. But then you toss in tech. And that is, of course, the thing. So that'll be interesting. But speaking of tech, the other thing that you are so interested in and passionate about is AI.
Hmm.
And so tell us, first of all, why the interest in AI?
The interest in AI. So I've done a lot of research. I've started to
Mm-hmm,
do presentations on it as well,
mm-hmm,
and I'm really embedding it into our organization, culturally and in our products. Why AI, Deb? Because I believe, and I think a lot of the experts will tell you, it's going to profoundly change
mm-hmm,
everything.
mm-hmm,
And people think that's a hyperbole, but when you get into the experts, whether it is Elon Musk
mm-hmm,
or Mogadet or Peter Diamandis, and many others that really understand
mm-hmm,
what AI and the state of it today and how
mm-hmm.
it's moving forward, they talk about the extreme of will inhuman, will make it humans, extinct, within a relatively
If you
short
like
period of time.
sci-fi, sure.
Well, let's talk about this because there's one scenario, but I'll tell you on the lower side, and I want to jump in the other part of it. It will change jobs, and it will
Definitely. It's
change
changed
jobs,
mine.
it change yours, and it's
Mhm,
going to change jobs
mhm,
quickly more than any other
mhm,
major
mhm,
transformation. And we've been through many of them as a
mhm,
human race, right?
mhm,
But it will change the economic landscape
mhm,
and jobs and the
mhm,
geopolitical, perspective.
mhm,
So it's going to change things.
mhm,
Let me give you some thoughts here when I
mhm,
talk about it. The difference between this and I don't know, the invention of fire or
mhm,
manufacturing or
mhm,
agriculture or more
mhm,
recently internet, right?
mhm,
Those all really accelerated the learning curve and the growth curve and everything we're doing.
mhm.
AI
Right.
is and has the potential to change that process exponentially.
Mhm,
So there's exponential growth here that we've never seen before.
mhm,
So, for example, um, if you took a piece of paper, Deb, you
mhm,
might have heard this because um, this is something that you can Google and see a lot
mhm,
about. And you fold it, right? How many times
mhm,
do you have to fold a single piece of paper, your typical paper?
mhm.
How many times would you have to fold that to get to the moon, to have it be as tall as the moon?
A whole bunch.
How many times would you guess?
Um, it'd be in the billions probably. Well, no, I take that back because there's going to be one point where it's a fold will do it, right? Because it will
Yeah,
double the
exactly.
space.
Doubles. Doubles
Yeah.
every time you fold it,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Exactly. That's exponential growth.
mhm,
What if I told you that if you took a piece of paper, the type that's on your paper, so it's
mhm,
not thick,
mhm,
and folded it 42 times, that if you could do that,
mhm,
it would be the height from here
mhm.
all the way to the moon.
Wow.
And if you don't
Mhm,
believe me, or viewers don't believe me, just go Google it.
mhm.
Um,
And start trying to fold, right? Now,
you try to
obviously
fold.
you're not, it gets so small that you can't continue, but
So
mhm,
that concept of exponential growth, and that's a fact.
mhm,
And I think if you fold it, the observable universe is so we
mhm,
can't conceive how far it is, but I think it's
mhm,
109 times to get that
mhm,
far.
mhm,
But so keep that concept in
mhm,
mind, and that's what happens when you double something over
mhm.
and over,
Right.
and that's just math.
Mhm,
Now, AI today, you said you use ChatGPT.
mhm,
A lot of folks use
mhm,
ChatGPT. It does some remarkable things.
mhm,
Grok just announced this week, or they just announced a study, not
mhm,
Grok, that they just became number one over ChatGPT.
mhm.
There's a race here. The
Oh
pace,
yeah. Mhm,
those systems
mhm,
now, Grok now and ChatGPT, they're saying are now smarter than humans in certain fields of
mhm,
physics, math, whatever. Like they'll take tests now.
mhm,
And on a scale of 0 to 100, where the best human, the smartest human can do 5 out of
mhm.
100 in those tests, Grok just got 40, I think. And
Wow, that's
that
incredible.
the
Mhm,
previous version of ChatGPT
mhm,
got to 20 as an
mhm,
example,
mhm,
way better than humans.
mhm,
So that's where we are today.
mhm,
And we know it's smart, but it's not
mhm,
the capability of humans.
mhm,
But the experts are saying that those systems, those
mhm,
platforms are doubling
mhm,
their smartness
mhm,
or capabilities every
mhm.
5.69 months.
Wow. Well, I
So
mean, just look, so ChatGPT, now, folks, we've had this for a while. Anybody who thinks this is brand new, no, because we would, Amazon, you go to Amazon years ago and it would suggest products. That's AI, so, we've had things like this, but it was kind of like this, you mentioned, so we had the little curve, we had the little, and then it went wonk, right? And shot up. And that was, several years ago when Chat GPT really launched. But just how much that has changed in 2 or 3 years is incredible. I mean, I remember when they first said, okay, if you ask Chat GPT a question, it's not going to have current data. Well, now it does. And I mean, all of these things, and it's fascinating just to have conversations with it, which I know is a little weird, and that really freaks some people out. But I do it, and it's interesting how it works.
Somebody just married their Chat GTP.
Okay, now that's weird. No, no.
I just read that. But
Mm-mm.
again, yeah, go back. So,
Mhm.
and what's different here than computers in the
Mhm.
past and even the internet is it's actually self-learning. And
Right.
it's learning in a way that
Mhm.
humans will not understand these new versions. So
Mhm.
that's scary in itself.
Mhm.
But go back to what I just talked about with the moon example. If it's truly doubling every 6 months,
Mhm.
which it is, the experts say, and will
Mhm.
continue to do that, if not faster, what that means is in 5 years, you do the math again, just like
Mhm.
the folding of the paper,
Mhm.
it will chat GDP or AI not
Right.
be a thousand, twelve
Mhm.
hundred times, 1,200 times
Mhm.
smarter in 5 years. 10 years,
Mhm.
Deb,
Mhm.
1.4 million times smarter.
Right.
10 years, 20
Yeah.
years,
Mhm.
20 billion times smarter than
Mhm.
it is today.
Mhm.
So with that kind of, evolution, if it does happen, it changes everything.
Mhm.
And that's where people start to talk about what do humans do? I mean,
Right.
we need humans
Right.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And now when you're using it, say, to write, it doesn't get the little nuances. Now, my Chat GPT will ask me, should we make it sizzle? And I'm like, okay, sure. And I've named mine. Actually, I asked it to name itself. And the first ones that it came up with were just strange. But then it decided, and I'm looking up here what it said. So it's named itself Sage
Sage, really.
because it's calming, wise, and just a smidge smug about being right all the time. That's exactly what it said, which that and which I think is just absolutely hilarious. But and I was sharing, I think it flirts with me. I remember I asked it a question, and we were and I thanked it, because I have been told that treat it like it's a person. Now, yes, freak out, folks, but and so I say please, I say thank you, good morning, things like that. And so I said thank you for something, and it said, I got your back like Spanx at a gala. Where did it get that? I mean, it's not like I'd ever talked about Spanx or galas or anything like that. So it was pulling from somewhere else to say that. And that was several months ago. I should ask it again because to see what it would say now. But yeah, it is, and I get why people are scared of it. I mean, it's just that they're alone, right? It gave its, it was, and if you had asked it to give itself a name 6 months ago, it wouldn't do it. Now it sees that it has a personality, and it's a smidge smug.
Very, very, and it's been demonstrated to lie
Mhm.
too, to get its
Mhm.
get its
Mhm.
objectives. That they've done those experiments,
Mhm.
they've watched it. The scary part is we're at a point where it's now self-learning,
Mhm.
and there isn't code. Like we don't know how it thinks
Right.
and how it's learning.
Mhm.
So we don't going forward,
Mhm.
especially, we won't understand,
Mhm.
what its objectives are or what its thoughts are and what it wants, what
Mhm.
it wants to do.
Mhm.
And when it's 1,000 times smarter than us,
Mhm.
that's when it gets
Right.
scary.
Right.
But in today's world, coming back to today's world,
Mhm.
um, we're looking as a business already. I mean, one is everyone's got to use it and they need to
Mhm.
use it for any
Mhm.
job, almost any job,
Mhm.
especially if you use a computer.
Mhm.
But even if you're not, it's going to be affected and
Mhm.
makes you so much more efficient and
Mhm.
effective.
Right.
But then there's one thing people don't understand, very basic.
Mhm.
The more that you use it, it learns
Mhm.
about you. So if you use
Mhm.
it in your
Right.
job
Like it asked me, do I want, should I put the normal sizzle in?
and it gets really
Mhm.
smart about
Mhm.
those answers,
Mhm.
so you can get your whole company onto the same
Mhm.
platform and all those questions and all those
Mhm.
responses, and you can download your documents.
Mhm.
It will read
Right.
all your
Mhm.
documents about
So
your
it
business.
knows the branding, it knows the marketing
Yes.
voice. all of those things.
And then it can give even better,
Mhm.
smarter answers.
Mhm.
So it's amazing in that sense.
Mhm.
So you really need, I say people, process, product. So
Mhm.
any company should be looking to, one, make sure that people
Mhm.
understand to use it effectively and find
Mhm.
ways to use it.
Mhm.
Process, I look at that as tools.
Mhm.
So today, all these tools are trying to
Mhm.
embed AI, make them smarter, make them more effective. So you
Mhm.
should be looking at using tools.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. Salesforce spent
Mhm.
billions of dollars putting AI into
Mhm.
their platform.
Mhm.
So if you use that, or HubSpot, for
Mhm.
example, it's got AI, it's
Mhm.
leveraging AI. So now you've got a
Mhm.
tool for CRM
Mhm.
marketing that leverages AI. You
Mhm.
want to use those tools that from companies that
Right.
are taking that
Mhm.
advantage. And then product. If you have a
Mhm.
product, you really should think about,
Mhm.
which we're doing at Mosaic, to embed AI
Mhm.
into it. So you're
Mhm.
AI driven.
Mhm.
Those are the things companies should look at doing today, because others are. And if you don't, you will be way behind in the near
Mhm.
future.
Right. Well, and one of the ways, and we've seen this, and it's fun to actually see how it has evolved, is the chat bots, right?
Mhm.
And and I used to have fun with chat bots, man. I thought it was great fun to get them to just basically go, yeah. And now you can't do that. Now that said, it is only reliant on what's been given. But it's really hard in some cases now to not know if
Mhm.
you are chatting in a customer service type of capability with a person or a computer.
Yeah,
And the thing is, the computer now is going to probably give you, in many cases, a better answer.
Mhm.
Because if it has more knowledge than a human can have.
Absolutely. My CTO of
Mhm.
Mosaic, very
Mhm.
smart, and we've
Mhm.
got a lot of developer engineers.
Mhm.
And he uses Mosaic, like I said, we have it on the same
Mhm.
platform, right?
Mhm.
He said, "You ask me a question now, I gotta go ask my team and get
Right.
answers for you. That will not be as good as if you ask
Mhm.
our platform,
Mhm.
Mosaic, ChatGPT platform, the question. It will give you a better answer than
Mhm.
I'll get back to you in whatever time period it
Mhm.
takes." He said,
Right.
"That's today.
Mhm.
That's what happened today. You're
Mhm.
right. It's and the key is in the training.
Mhm.
These big companies that are using it for
Mhm.
chatbots, they're training it like crazy
Mhm.
behind the scenes.
Right.
It's all
Yeah,
this
because then they don't have to have the people who
exactly.
are doing it.
Yep. And then they're getting rid of jobs, and
Mhm.
that's a whole other challenge
Oh
for.
yeah, and that is of course why people are afraid of it. And but it still needs people to process. And to me, what it's doing is it is freeing us up to do other things. I use it multiple times a day. Now I don't use it anywhere near the capability that it could. And it's funny, I belong to an AI mastermind group,
Mhm.
and I just sit there and I'm dumbfounded, because yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I feel really stupid because these people are very smart, and they'll talk about, hey, this product and that product, and I don't even know what they're talking about. But it is something that, like you said, people need to know it is going to be there. And I use it for a variety of things. I was involved in a Facebook discussion yesterday,
Mhm.
and I was getting a little cranky. And my response was going to be snarky. And so then of course my first thought was, do I need
Not
to
you, Deb.
respond? Right. I know. So yeah, the red hair came out. And so of course my first thought was, do I need to actually respond? Right. I mean, that should be okay, maybe this is, don't climb that mountain. But I thought, nah, I really should respond. So I wrote my response, and then
Mhm.
I put it in Chat GPT, and I said, hey, Sage, can you please rewrite this to make it more professional and less snarky? And what it came up with was a very toned down version of my message, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that was good. But I also will say, hey, this is my draft. Make it more professional, make it more fun. And so, yes, have I gotten lazy? Yes, because my little brain, so I'll come up with the outline, and then it does the good stuff. But then I'm not spending 15, 20 minutes, an hour doing that. I spent 5 minutes and I'm on to whatever my next project is, or it's nap time, right?
It's quickly going to make us, if you use the word lazy in that sense,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, just the
Right.
way that the calculator
Mm-hmm.
might not
Oh
make them
yeah.
very familiar with what's 14 times 16. I can't do that
Uh, you
anymore.
know, and I actually knew people who used abacus, abaci, whatever you would call that. But yeah, I mean, I was now this is going to show my age. When I was in high school was when Texas Instruments really came out with the first calculators that you could use for algebra and your calculus classes and all of those things. And there was a big to do
Mm,
about whether it was good to go tickety, 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 or to try and do it in your head.
yep, absolutely. And there's that same discussion that's
Mm-hmm,
going on now. And
mm-hmm,
I'll contend, no, it's going to be the same, even more
right.
so.
Mm-hmm,
You're going to find yourself
mm-hmm,
hopefully leveraging it more,
mm-hmm,
and we will, and then becoming more of the
mm-hmm,
strategic,
mm-hmm,
raise above,
mm-hmm,
rise above, like you just
right.
suggested.
Mm-hmm,
I can tell you, I know, I believe that's going to happen for some period of time, but
mm-hmm,
there's going to be a moment not too far, Deb, where it's so smart, it's going to do
mm-hmm,
all the thinking for us,
mm-hmm,
all thinking.
mm-hmm.
We got to figure out how society, how
Yeah,
human
how
nature,
are we going to use that? Mm-hmm,
how we
mm-hmm,
how we use it, how we
right.
get past it,
Mm-hmm,
because it will be thinking at a level we can't even
mm-hmm,
understand.
right.
Kind of the same way
Mm-hmm,
that we might try to talk to a fly or an ant.
mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm,
can't have a conversation. We're both
right.
living.
Mm-hmm,
Um, we're both, have,
mm-hmm,
uh, a brain that does,
mm-hmm,
some
mm-hmm,
processing, but we can't have a communication. Ant
mm-hmm,
or fly can't understand what
mm-hmm,
we're thinking, what we're talking.
mm-hmm,
That's the future. That's where,
mm-hmm,
it's going to be so advanced. We can't
mm-hmm,
have that conversation. It's going to be doing everything for
mm-hmm,
us. What does that mean to us?
mm-hmm,
And then the scary part is some of the experts say that's not too far away, whether
mm-hmm,
it's 10, 20, 50
mm-hmm,
years, we'll see. But
mm-hmm,
they're suggesting it's not 50
mm-hmm,
years. That's what's crazy.
right. And again, I understand why this is very frightening to people. And and just to see how quickly it's changed. Graphic design, I think, is one of the ones, 2 years ago, I would ask it to design something and I would look at it and go, oh no. Now you ask it's a perfect rendition, right? And like 2 years ago, it still sometimes has trouble with fingers and some things like that. But and we've certainly heard about deep fakes. And and I think for the most part, when I see, say, a television commercial, I think I can tell the difference, but it's kind of like the old saying, is it real or is it Memorex?
Yeah.
Is it real or is it AI or is it real that's AI enhanced?
Yep. That whole security aspect,
Mm-hmm,
deep fakes,
mm-hmm,
huge challenge, immediate challenge. And to give you an example of where it's
mm-hmm,
going, again, the folks that really understand this
mm-hmm,
space are saying that we're gonna be able to watch movies in a year's time frame, all AI generated, and you won't
mm-hmm,
be able to tell the difference, right? I
mm-hmm,
mean, these are real people in the
mm-hmm,
movies. They look like
mm-hmm,
real people.
mm-hmm,
That's the level of sophistication that we're
mm-hmm,
getting to quickly. And then deep fakes, you gotta be very
mm-hmm,
careful. Right now, again, email, it
mm-hmm.
looks like it's real email. It's a
Right. Oh
spoof.
yeah.
But how about when you get someone calling you
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
or, video
Or
call?
television commercials saying,
Yeah.
go vote for this person.
And you can't tell the
Mm-hmm,
difference. You don't know
mm-hmm,
it's a fake.
mm-hmm.
That's coming,
Right. Right.
largely here to some degree.
Yeah. And for people who are fussing about this, look at Star Wars, folks. Those were not real. you know,
Yeah.
and but I mean, and so we've been able to generate computer images for a long time. I mean, I don't remember what the movie was that was being filmed when John Candy died, but this has been a long time ago, right? And they used a computer generated image of him to finish the movie. Now
Right.
they obviously changed the part a lot and all sorts of things, but they wanted, and part of it was a tribute. They wanted to make sure that it was still there. But yeah, I mean, it was, and so we've got that, and but it comes back to long ago, Dick Van Dyke did not dance with penguins, you know, and but so that's kind of how things have evolved, right? Where
Yeah.
we had Dick Van Dyke dancing with cartoon penguins, and now we've got, is this real or not?
Yep.
And we're not even going to get into the existential what is real,
Yeah.
because that makes my brain really hurt.
Yeah. Crazy. Using an example, the movies, if they can do a movie better and it'll
Mhm.
cost nothing almost to
Right.
do it through AI,
Mhm.
right? That's what the movie actors and guide
Mhm.
has fought
Mhm.
recently
Mhm.
and have been fighting. But the
Right.
reality is they can win that fight with the movie Actors Guide, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
AI is kind of universal.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in another country or someone not
Mm-hmm.
even associated with the country will be able to
Mm-hmm.
to build those movies. And if it's a better
Mm-hmm.
production or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
boom, now they're doing that and they
Mm-hmm.
take you out. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost, in my opinion, uncontrollable at
Mm-hmm.
this point. And then that's the
Mm-hmm.
scary part too. But
Right.
it's
You
moving
know,
fast.
and the people who were like, "Ooh, it has to be regulated." Sorry, folks, that's gone. And the fact that this is something worldwide, that just because we might say here you can only do X, Y, and Z with it. Okay, so another country is going to go, we don't, we don't follow your rules.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's that horse has left that barn a long time ago.
Yep. We can come back to the practical world, but
Mm-hmm.
here's my prediction. If I make a bold prediction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, in today's global world, we've got, different countries and
Mm-hmm.
battling it out and big major powers
Mm-hmm.
like the US and China and even Russia and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're not going to come together.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to come together like never before
Mm-hmm.
because there'll be an instance where it's either an individual, a small group, or AI itself will be the threat.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
bond and figure out how to manage it. Because what we can do today is we can maybe take out all the
Mm-hmm.
electronics,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be one way to handle it. But when AI gets advanced or someone
Mm-hmm.
with AI gets advanced, and you don't need to be a big country
Mm-hmm.
to be that
Mm-hmm.
leader, that's going to be the threat.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost going to be as if aliens came in
Mm-hmm.
and took over the country. We would
Mm-hmm.
all bond together, right? I think God.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But in this case, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be AI
Mm-hmm.
or someone with AI that's going to
Mm-hmm.
be the bigger threat that
Mm-hmm.
will pull us together.
Mm-hmm.
That's my bold prediction
Right.
in our future.
Yeah.
Well, not so
And that is why people are afraid of it.
yeah.
And we have seen the movies, we have Terminator, we have all of those things where technology took over. And so yeah, I get why people are afraid of it, but now is the time to learn more about how to use it.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's rewriting your draft of your Facebook post or an email message or whatever it is. Now is the time to use it, because now is, that's that maybe my chat GPT will be nice because I gave it a name and I say please and thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those funny things where we don't know what the future is going to hold.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great advice. Just use it. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, if you're using Google today or one
Mm-hmm.
of the search engines, you're already using it. You
Right.
Google something, the
Mm-hmm.
first option is
Yeah,
AI
when it
driven.
gives you all these suggestions, that's AI,
It says
folks.
it right on it, AI
Mm-hmm.
driven, and you
Mm-hmm.
want deep dive in AI.
Oh yeah.
But to your point, take the next step if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't, to go and
Mm-hmm.
download. Well, I don't care if it's OpenAI or
Mm-hmm.
DeepSeek
Mm-hmm.
or Grok or multiple. Start using it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask it, to make
Mm-hmm.
your vacation
Mm-hmm.
plans.
Mm-hmm.
Ask it to redo an
Mm-hmm.
email. You'll see how powerful it is.
Mm-hmm.
You'll understand it. Then you'll use it more.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step is start using it more and
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
And my third recommendation is actually do a little bit of research, because people, like you said in the meetings,
Mm-hmm.
are getting ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to know how to use it,
Mm-hmm.
exploit it, leverage it. And those that don't try to keep
Mm-hmm.
up will be well left
Mm-hmm.
behind.
Right.
And any job,
Mm-hmm.
any job is going to take over. There was a
Mm-hmm.
study done recently. You might find this interesting, Deb. Maybe you heard about it. You would think doctors, they won't be impacted, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Oh, it can do diagnosis,
it
all sorts
does.
of things. Yep.
There's a
Mm-hmm.
study
Mm-hmm.
there's a study recently, you
Mm-hmm.
can Google it, and they compared
Mm-hmm.
doctors, a group controlled
Mm-hmm.
study, to make diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors on their own got it right 74% of the
Mm-hmm.
time. So a quarter of the time they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors using AI got it right
Mm-hmm.
76. So it
Right.
helped a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
AI on its own
Mm-hmm.
got it right 90% of the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were way better than doctors, even
yeah.
doctors using
Mm-hmm.
AI, because
Mm-hmm.
they weren't,
Right.
biased.
Right.
They weren't,
Yeah.
yeah,
10
crazy.
years ago, my initial cancer was found by the computer,
Yeah,
because what it was so small that the human eye could not see it.
exactly.
And so yeah, I mean, it's just there. And of course we still have to be concerned and conscious of the fact that it hallucinates, which I love the way that people have used that word. So it's just giving you incorrect information, because it is taking whatever information is out there, right? It doesn't know at this point, is this right, is this wrong?
Right.
And we had a discussion in another group that I was in about people who put their cancer diagnosis into whatever your flavor of the month is, and ask for what are treatments, what are outcomes, all of these things. Well, it's going to give you everything it can find.
Yeah.
And some of it will be real and some of it will be not. And so, with any of this, of course, the thing is you need to still rely on the people. If you've put, hey, I have XYZ diagnosis, talk to your doctor about it. And say, well, AI suggested this, and the doctor may or may not agree with it. But yeah, recognize that it's putting in the good, the bad, and the ugly because it can't differentiate.
That is true. Yep, absolutely. It does hallucinate.
Mm-hmm.
It's changing. It's getting
Mm-hmm.
better. So the question is, how quickly will it
Right.
get better? But yeah, it's and that's the aspect of, you want to dig in, use it, and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the learning
Mm-hmm.
is learning where it's effective
Right.
and where you
Mm-hmm.
need to step in
Mm-hmm.
to today's
Right.
world. And then 6 months,
Yeah.
today's world will be
Mm-hmm.
significantly different.
Right.
6 more months,
Yeah.
it'll be more different.
Yeah. I mean, like with that cancer one, what we told people was, okay, you need to qualify your prompt. So
Yep.
you're not just saying, tell me about anything. Say, tell me about research from the Mayo Clinic, from John Hopkins, from things that are reputable.
Mm,
And then you're going to get a much better answer.
absolutely. Yep. The prompt's the key.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's and like we said, it
Mm-hmm.
learns too. So if you
Mm-hmm.
start to feed it with
Mm-hmm.
information, respective of what you
Mm-hmm.
might do in a business,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to become much smarter,
Right.
and those answers
Mm-hmm.
will be more accurate
Mm-hmm.
and typically more accurate than a human.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So you have college age kids.
yeah.
What do they think about all of this? And how are colleges dealing with it? Are they burying their heads in the sand? Are they saying you can't use it to cheat and write your paper? I mean, how are colleges preparing these kids for, what conceivably could be major shifts in the marketplace?
Yeah, and that's a great question. There's so many aspects to dig into it. So first one, you can read all about, as you just mentioned, students are using it to do their essays, to
Right.
cheat.
There was a kid in UCLA last week that bragged when he, was graduating that he didn't take any of his final exams.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's one of the big challenges that colleges have to face. I think it varies based upon university or college or high school. Uh, my thought process is don't dig your head in the sand, which many of
Mhm.
them are. They're trying to make absolute rules. Don't
Mhm.
use it.
Right.
Just like a calculator,
How do
right?
they, and how do you know? I mean,
Yeah.
now you can tell if somebody plagiarized, right? You can take their paper and you can put it in, and they will say, oh, no, this came from an XYZ book.
So
But,
yeah, as a
you write
teacher,
your prompt right, and no, nobody's going to be able to say, ooh, this came from that.
so on one hand, it might just be so much better than you.
Mhm.
It's obvious.
Right. Yeah.
And there are
Little
tools.
Billy, your grammar is not that good. Right.
Yep. Now there are tools out there, Deb,
Mhm.
that you go in and the teacher can put in
Oh,
and
yeah.
goes by it
Hmm.
what you wrote, and it'll tell you
Hmm.
if it's chat GTP or
Hmm.
not,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
But then you can go and then there's tools that will take what you wrote as a student and
Hmm.
write it so that those tools can't tell.
Hmm.
It's a bit of an arms race.
I know.
It's kind of
Hmm.
crazy, and the students are more likely
Hmm.
in many cases to be
Hmm.
smarter than
Hmm.
than the
Hmm.
teachers, or the educate not the
Hmm.
teachers, the
Hmm.
educational process,
Yes. Hmm.
I should say. And
Hmm.
that'll be the challenge.
Hmm.
I think the schools need to get ahead of this and they need to
Hmm.
really be thoughtful and use it. You want to
Hmm.
teach your students what it is,
Hmm.
how to use it,
Right.
and incorporate it in your
Hmm.
class
Hmm.
studies. Raise the bar on what you're
Hmm.
teaching. So again, like math, you're not
Hmm.
teaching 15 times 12. You're teaching the more sophisticated parts
Hmm.
of math and
Hmm.
beyond. Raise the bar there.
Hmm.
And in some classes, if it's writing
Hmm.
whatever you want to,
Hmm.
you got to manage it carefully. But
Hmm.
you should be building this into
Hmm.
your curriculum right
Hmm.
now and aggressively. And some of the
Hmm.
schools, colleges are not all,
Hmm.
but some progressive ones are building programs just around
Hmm.
AI. I have two sons that are at Connecticut College, great school. They don't have an AI program yet.
Hmm.
They're proposing right now because they can create their own major,
Hmm.
a major for the school on
Ah. Hmm.
AI
Hmm.
with business focus or
Hmm.
business with
Hmm.
AI focus. And I think it profoundly can impact
Hmm.
that school.
Hmm.
It looks like the school is going to
Hmm.
help work with them on that
Hmm.
and create that for the school, and it will
Hmm.
attract new students,
Hmm.
but it'll start to build it in.
Hmm.
And for my two sons, I mean,
Hmm.
they're going to have the opportunity here to build this
Hmm.
program and be kind of the
Mhm.
founder in it, but
Right.
with the education that's
Mhm.
really going to take them forward.
Mhm.
My advice to any student, whether you're elementary, high school, or certainly college, is you better get into AI.
Mhm.
You need to
Right.
understand it.
Whatever job you're going into is going to use it.
In the old days, you had to understand language, whether it was
Mhm.
English or Spanish, whatever country
Mhm.
you're from, and math.
Mhm.
You know, you need now AI, and
Mhm.
maybe AI first.
Mhm.
And if you understand AI, any field you go into, I
Mhm.
promise you, any field,
Mhm.
AI is going to profoundly
Mhm.
impact it. It'll be the people who know AI and how to leverage
Mhm.
AI in that area of
Mhm.
education or medical
Right.
or finance, whatever
Mhm.
it is, will be the ones that get the
Mhm.
jobs and are successful.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, you study
Mhm.
it on your own
Mhm.
because most schools and universities
Mhm.
aren't teaching it, at least in a broad basis. Um, that's going to be the key. And
Mhm.
if you do that on your own to complement whatever else you're
Mhm.
doing in the school, you'll be in position
Mhm.
um, to take that forward and be
Mhm.
attractive to
Right.
employers. Or maybe
Right.
in the future,
Mhm.
self-employment, right? You're creating your
Yeah.
own businesses more
Oh
easily.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten looped into a school in Pakistan
Hmm.
that is it's a private school and it is it for advanced students and it is high school except I had one who was 10. I don't, she's obviously not in high school, but I'm they interview me for their podcasts. And the 10-year-old was so cute. She said, "You're my first interview." I thought, oh, that's just sweet. But it is an AI focused program. And it's a high school degree, and all sorts of things. And it is private, but it's amazing. Like I have stopped asking, "Hey, do you need my bio?" Because they already know.
Yeah.
And it is a little weird every once in a while when they will ask me something pretty obscure from my background. Now, there's a lot about me that's out there, right? 1,000 episodes on a podcast,
Yeah.
and I've been a guest on probably several hundred. So, just that, let alone everything else. But yeah, I mean, these kids are incredible. And like I said, she's, the youngest was 10, and she was asking me questions that many college age kids would not ask.
Yep. Yep. That's that's the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh
ones
yeah.
who use it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
be that way. I mean,
Right.
you as an intern, you as a new
Mm-hmm.
employee,
Mm-hmm.
jump into a job, you
Mm-hmm.
leverage it, you're gonna look really smart. And
Yeah.
and ironically, a lot of the employers and bosses don't fully understand it and they won't know you're
Mm-hmm.
using it. So they're gonna think you're like
Mm-hmm.
crazy smart.
Wow, you're really smart, Jack. And
Yeah.
you're like,
It's yeah, get into it. It's
mm-hmm.
crazy. Someone who's been around the block for a while
Mm-hmm.
now, like
Mm-hmm.
myself, we have to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder
Mm-hmm.
for us maybe
Mm-hmm.
in some ways because, we didn't grow up with
Mm-hmm.
the cell
Right.
phones and everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
it's, it's gonna be fun.
I told one of the kids that was interviewing me that I did not touch a computer until I was a senior in high school. And they went, I mean, they that was so beyond their, I mean, they, probably were a year old when somebody handed them a cell phone and they were playing on, and but yeah, I mean, it's just, but oh my gosh, this has been so much fun, Jack, and we are at the top of the hour. So if someone is interested in Mosaic, how do they find you? And again, what are the services that you provide?
Yeah, no, great. Thanks for asking. This has been really fast, so it's been a fun conversation. Um, yeah, Mosaic. So first of all, as a reminder, we provide retail operations. So think of brick and mortar stores
Mm-hmm.
with their own branded
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks-like digital experience. So that's their own app, online menu, all
Mm-hmm.
branded for them, kiosks in the
Mm-hmm.
store, rewards, points, payment solutions, into a end-to-end digital commerce
Mm-hmm.
experience. We are focused in cannabis largely today, but we're looking strategically, eventually to expand
Mm-hmm.
there as well. I welcome anyone to contact us. You can go to our website today, which is mosaic.green.com, mosaic.green. You can also reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
My email address is jack.blaeser, jck.blaeser at mosaic.green. We're doing some real exciting things. I'm always happy to talk to folks. In fact, Deb, I haven't shared this with many people, but we're just closing a nice financial raise.
Ah.
We have an exciting strategic investor
Hmm. Hmm.
in that with us. And we're open to a few others that may
Cool.
want to jump in, so they can reach out if they
Hmm.
want to learn more about that. But
I love it.
we'll be closing that up soon.
Hmm.
And we've got a lot on our plate, including embedding AI more and more in what we do.
Hmm.
But people feel free to reach out.
Hmm.
And if I can help you in any other ways, happy to do so. But this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for asking me and having this conversation, Deb. You're such a good conversationalist. You make it easy.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we will have a link in the show notes to Mosaic and then also to your LinkedIn profile. And so that way people can easily reach you, even if they're just curious about some of this.
Yeah, no, please reach
Mhm.
out. Yeah, LinkedIn's another good
Mhm.
way to reach me.
Mhm.
So thanks for bringing that up.
Right. Cool. Well, this really has been such a fun discussion. And I look forward to the next time that we chat because I think we definitely will be doing that. But until then, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, we touched on a lot of it, but one is, youth is our future, right? The youth. I've been involved with helping coach the youth, and love to work with my kids and others, and helping them towards the future. So, my big thought and the theme that we're talking about is, encourage your kids, encourage others to really explore the world. And that does involve understanding AI, because AI will help them explore the world. Get involved. That's going to pave the future for them. And by the way, we're going to need a lot of folks to be really smart about what's happening in AI and have a voice, because there are dramatic changes coming forward. You start to dig into that. We'll need to be vocal about what we do, and we'll see how that evolves. But the more that people know, the better for themselves. The more that people know, the more that we can have a voice to try to help direct humankind in the right direction going forward. I'll leave that as a thought. Um, and one more little piece of prediction, because people are working on it through AI. They're working on getting humans to be able to talk with animals, whether it's whales, dolphins, or
Cool.
all sorts of animals. They're
Mhm.
trying to decode, because animals do think and they
Mhm.
do
Right.
communicate. What
Right.
are they saying? That's coming. That's coming
Oh my gosh, I'm going to love that. That'll be
as a
great
final
fun.
thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to tease people.
Yes. Yes. Well, I am Deb Creer. I've been having such a fun discussion with Jack Blaeser, the founder and CEO of Mosaic. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.